Ladies and gentlemen, this is your NXT Takeover Phoenix review. The first takeover of 2019. As you guys know, your boy, Alyx Man, is the advocate for the brand NXT. I am someone that has said NXT is the best wrestling show today. And I still stand by that, knowing that this particular takeover was one of the weaker ones. But with that said, it was still a great show. Now, there isn't a lot of shows you can say was still great, but at the same time, it was one of their weakest pay-per-views, one of their weakest performances, one of their weakest deliveries. Because in comparison to NXT Takeover New Orleans, Takeover War Games, Takeover Brooklyn, even Takeover Chicago, this doesn't quite live up to that standard. Because those shows I named you, at least 3 of them are some of the best wrestling shows I've ever seen. This one, great show, but doesn't quite live up to the standard that NXT set in 2018. Didn't quite reach the bar. Still pretty high. Still better than basically any WWE pay-per-view from last year. And that's saying something, that as weak as the show was, it's still better than any other WWE show the main roster put on last year. However, I think, and I'm not going, knock on wood, I'm not going to say that this is going to happen. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. But Royal Rumble 2019 tomorrow may be the first, and again, knock on wood, it may be the first main roster pay-per-view to actually beat NXT in terms of overall show quality. So, main roster, now's your chance to bring your best game. You have everything you could need to be better than tonight's show. You have all the right matches. You have the best crowd, one of the best crowds. You need to deliver. You need to bring it. Because if there was ever a chance for main roster to say, we actually outdid NXT for 1 week, this is it. Lord, I agree.
I tagged you in the tweet about what happened after the show.
Oh yeah, I already was updated about that. I know exactly what he's talking about, and we'll get to that in the review. But before we even begin, if this is the first time you're watching me, do yourself a favor. Like the video and subscribe. And if you want more, you want to help expand the brand of your boy Alyx Man, you can do a couple of things. You can like me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at AlyxManVX1. You can donate using PayPal, Patreon, or Super Chat. You can also buy yourself a Alyx Man t-shirt today at Pro Wrestling Tees. Also, the channel is sponsored by WrestleCrate. WrestleCrate is a monthly subscription service that sends you wrestling merchandise straight to your door for a monthly subscription price. If you want yourself a WrestleCrate box, you can get one right now. Here's the thing. My sponsorship with WrestleCrate, the partnership, is ending January 31st. So, if you want yourself a WrestleCrate box for 20% off, now's the time to do it. Because it's ending very, very soon. If you have not gotten yourself a WrestleCrate box yet, and you want it for 20% off, using the promo code DeluxeMan, today and for the rest of the week, it's all you got. Following that, the sponsorship is null and void. It will end, and your boy DeluxeMan will no longer be promoting WrestleCrate. But not saying we have any issues going with WrestleCrate. It's just, sponsorship is ending. And that's just how it is. But that that concludes all the preliminary stuff. Everything is down below in the description. Who's here in the live chat? Who's joining your boy? Who's here? Jonathan Martinez, oh yeah, Mr. Krabs, The Big Dog, DeAndre Kidd, Martin Braun, Chase5677, Joseph Winters, Elias Ademi, Jake Salick, Bryson Mixtape 99, T.Y. William, I'm Your Dad, Kid, 25, that's an interesting name. The Dark OPZ, alright, SK Raven, Y2 Jericho, we got some others coming in here, let me go back. King Larry the First, Atlanta, Spain, Latrell Finkton, of course, Marlon Mencia donated $5. Thank you for the donation, buddy. Pikachu Black, WWE Fan for Life 56, Adam Celona, ABJ 504, Shannon M365, the Champ X Faded X, that's an interesting name. Sean Swaby, D the Original, Chemo, and Keon Cody. Let's do one more. Atlanta Fan for Life. Alright, so if I don't say your names, not because I hate you, I want to get to this review. And I'm kind of tired. Watching this show kind of wore me out. In a good way. Because we had some crazy things happen on this show. So I'm excited to talk about NXT Takeover tonight. So let's get to it. First off, we had the announcement of certain NXT awards given out. So here are the results of the following awards. For the NXT Match of the Year 2018, the award was given to Gargano versus Almas, NXT Takeover Philadelphia. It was a sheer classic. Definitely one of the best matches that year. I personally think NXT's Takeover Chicago bout involving Gargano and Ciampa was match of the year, but that's just my opinion. I'm not going to dispute this being match of the year. This was a classic. Why wouldn't it be? Male competitor of the year was Tommaso Ciampa, who, by the way, on the pre-show when they tried to give it to him, I love that when, I forgot her name, when the interviewer tried to give him the award, he looked at it and then looked at the championship and said, of course, and then walked away. He didn't even grab it. Of course, I'm the champion. Of course, I'm male competitor of the year, which I loved. I love that he is so fixated on the championship that nothing else really matters to him. That's really cool. Female competitor of the year was Kairi Sane. And I was like, I don't hate that. I actually, as a fan, I'm actually very happy she won it. I would have given it to Shayna Baszler. 2018 was Shayna's year. That's just me. I would have voted for Shayna. One of the best NXT champions that we've seen in a long time, especially for females. Tag Team of the Year, Undisputed. Undisputed Era. There's no other tag team better. Rivalry of the Year, of course, Gargano versus Ciampa. Undisputed. There is no other better feud in that entire year. Breakout Star of the Year was Ricochet. I'm cool with that. Would have given it to Adam Cole, but Ricochet's amazing. I'm not going to take anything away from him. And to my surprise, the overall competitor of the year out of everybody on the roster was Kairi Sane. Wasn't Gargano, wasn't Ciampa, wasn't Aleister Black, wasn't Adam Cole, Ricochet, or Velveteen Dream. It was Kairi Sane. Wow. Congratulations. And that was one of those announcements where I just went, you know what? Because she's so sweet, because she's such a good person, and because she works so hard, sure, I will put my personal preferences aside to let her have her moment. I'm absolutely okay with Kairi Sane being overall female competitor of the year. I thought her feud with Shayna Baszler was amazing. I thought they had some of the best female matches in WWE history. And I think I gave one of them... Which one was it? One of them got a classic rating. I think it was the one at Brooklyn. Because that one was sheer awesomeness. Yeah, I'm cool with Kairi Sane being overall competitor of the year. But again, this was voted on by the fans. Can't really complain at this point. Whatever. So, there you go. Let's get to the show. We kick things off, ladies and gentlemen, with the NXT Tag Team Championship. Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong taking on the War Raiders. When I tell you, this is one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. Coming off of the classic I saw at NXT UK TakeOver, Blackpool, I didn't think, again, I gave that match with, it was Mustache Mountain versus, what was it, Grizzled Young Veterans? I think that's the name of it. Yeah, Grizzled Young Veterans. James Drake and that one guy everybody hates. I thought to myself, there's no way in hell no other tag team match is going to top that. And then we fast forward weeks later to this event, and we found a match that I thought was just as good, if not better. Everything in this match was mind-blowing. So, War Raiders are beasts. They are beasts among men. And the fact that they were able to do half the things in this match, being the size that they are, and make it believable, I was blown away. There was a spot in this match where Strong and Kyle O'Reilly was going for the high-low. That's their finisher. Freaking, it wasn't Rowe. It was Hanson. Hanson was the guy with the long hair. Hanson did a cartwheel and completely evaded them like the freaking Matrix. And I thought that was freaking awesome. And then he did a handspring elbow. A handspring flying elbow. It was, whoa. The fact that these big men were doing some of the most craziest stunts blew my mind, and they worked so well with each other too. I also loved that they would no-sell some moves, but then sell some other ones. Reminds me a lot of the New Japan style, which, hey, I'm a New Japan fan, so anytime, any day. But it just goes to show you once and for all the quality of work Undisputed Era brings to the table. I look back at when these two, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, first got together. And then from New Orleans on, every match that they've had for those tag team titles, A plus, A minus, A plus, A minus. There hasn't been one bad match. One match below an A, below amazing. And I dare say, this is their best one. So if you love their past matches, you're going to love this one. Absolute classic. This, to me, was definitely one of the best matches of the show. And the crazy thing is, it's not the best match. As amazing as this match was, it wasn't even the best one. So, instantly, I'm thinking to myself, we're doing it again. We're going to have another takeover that is just impossible to beat. And what a better way to kick off than with new tag team champions. The War Raiders end up defeating the Undisputed Era. They end the era of Undisputed. And now stand on top of the world as your new tag team champs. The crowd received them. I also love the entrance. I didn't talk about the entrance because I'm a match guy, first off. But, that was one of those entrances where you see it, you appreciate the creativity, you appreciate the uniqueness, and you just kind of go, man, I forget what it was like to just be immersed as a fan. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times fans like me and you get so critical of wrestling, WWE, NXT, whatever, we forget what it's like to be a fan. And the first match was one of those matches that just immersed me into the product, and you just go, man, I miss these days. Thank you, NXT. So, thank you to all four competitors. Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Hanson, Rowe. You put on an instant classic for NXT. One of the best tag matches I've seen. And perhaps one of the best ones I will see all year. We move on from that to a match I felt sorry for. Because you have to follow a classic that's never good. But on previous shows, they've done a very good job of following up on classic matches. So I'm thinking maybe they'll be all right. And they were all right. They wasn't. That was weird. It was like a hiccup, and I had to catch my breath. That was quite odd. They were good. Didn't quite meet the standard of the classic, but come on. As long as you can actually keep the interest of the crowd following that classic match, that's what really matters. And that's what this next match did. So the next match is Matt Riddle versus Kassius Ohno. And Kassius Ohno came out in... It was a Phoenix Sun rendition of his KO shirt. You remember the Phoenix Suns classic shirt from back in the day? NBA, basketball. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. So the basketball team, Phoenix Suns, had this purple, orangish gear. And Kassius Ohno basically replicated that to fit his gear. And I like that. That was really cool. I caught that instantly. But the match itself, it was about the same as their NXT match on the regular show. It was, 2-3 weeks ago when Kassius Ohno turned on Matt Riddle. So, I can't really complain. I thought Kassius Ohno was going to beat Matt Riddle. Because usually, like I said, Triple H likes to throw you a curveball. The matches that you expect to go one way, he'll take one and flip it. It wasn't this match. It was another match. We'll talk about that in a second. But I thought this was going to be that match. I thought Kassius Ohno was going to hand Matt Riddle his first defeat, and it would have been okay. Nope, didn't go that way. Matt Riddle beat him again. 3-0. Kassius Ohno got a lot of offense on him, but it wasn't enough. There was one particular elbow that was so stiff, it busted. It legit busted Matt Riddle open. And there was blood trickling down his mouth, which made him more of a badass. And, yeah, I thought the finish of the match, which was basically him beating KO to a point where he just tapped out. It wasn't even like the bro mission. He was just beating him with elbow shots. And Kassius Ohno said, "No more, stop it, stop, get off me." And he tapped out. And that was it. So, good match. The crowd received Matt Riddle very well. I see him being something big on NXT. So we follow that matchup with the undisputed match of the night. I think we already figured from the moment this match was announced, it was going to steal the weekend. Boy, did it ever! So, the next match is the NXT North American Championship bout between champion Ricochet and his challenger, Johnny Takeover, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano. So first off, before I gush over this match, I love the attires. Both of them came out in different renditions of Marvel comic characters. Gargano apparently came out as the Dark Phoenix, colors of the Dark Phoenix, that's Jean Grey from the X-Men. And then Ricochet came out as Miles Morales, Spider-Man, which, perfect! I think that was one of the best attires I've seen all night. So let's get to this freaking match. What the hell, Ricochet? What the hell, Gargano? Like, oh my goodness! This is one of those matches you watch, and you tell yourself, like, why even have the rest of the show? You know what I'm saying? You watch that match and you go, why even have the rest of the show? Nothing's gonna top that. There was nothing... There was no possible way of anything else following this match. It was that good. First off, let's talk about Mr. Ricochet here. This guy, and I've always known he was good. He's always been good. But it's surprising to me that he is able to take the WWE style and get better. You know what I'm saying? It's like on the indies, when he was working his indie style, amazing. One of the best high flyers in the world. It's amazing to me that he's able to adopt that WWE style and not only make it work, but he's able to excel in it. The stuff he did in this match, where do I start? You call that the Fosbury flop, the little twisting dive to the outside that AJ Styles made famous. So he did that. 450s. Freaking Phoenix splashes, did a freaking backflip Pele kick that looked like it should have killed Gargano. And the way he sold some of these moves, like, come on, man. My favorite moment of the match was when freaking Gargano had him on the top rope. He was going for a top rope Frankensteiner, right? So he's going to fall off, hit the Hurricane Rana. At first, Ricochet catches him and displays his immense strength. Surprisingly strong. Deceptively strong. Lifts him up for a powerbomb, right? Stands on the top rope. Gargano counters it into a Frankensteiner, Hurricane Rana. Flips Ricochet off. This mofo hits a 450 and lands on his feet. If there was a camera in this room when that happened, you would have seen me do a lap around my room with my hand on my head like, what was that? No way! I'm acting. I can't replicate what I did, but I was losing my mind when that happened. I'm like, that did not just happen. He did not just land from a top rope Frankensteiner. And it was crisp too. And I was like, oh my god. What the hell was that? Ricochet's amazing. Like, I think I'm putting money on it right now. When he moves to the main roster, expect him to be a superstar within a year. I think he's going to be one of those guys that transcend the business. I'm not even kidding you. He's got something. There's an it factor to Ricochet that I think when he gets to the main roster and he's able to showcase what he's doing now, like if they don't hinder him at all, they keep how he is right now, he's going to be mega. Something big. So, getting off of Ricochet, let me get on Gargano now. Because the story with Gargano becoming what he hates, in a sense becoming Tommaso Ciampa, there was no better way of telling that story than what we saw in this match. I loved all the callbacks to his previous matches, from him using or trying to use that draping DDT to the DIY do-it-yourself super kick, to him removing the mat from the outside to expose the concrete. And I love how the first time he tried to go for it, he was like, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do that. I'm not Tommaso Ciampa. I'm not Tommaso Ciampa. And then as he got closer and closer to the finish and he realized, I can't beat him, you can see where he snapped. And then he just went to the dark side, and then he hit a... Well, it was a suplex, but I think it was supposed to be a brain buster. Ricochet sold it like a brain buster. But whatever, suplex or brain buster, it hurts. It's the concrete. Okay? It hurts inside the ring, which is nothing but boards. This is the concrete. This is paint. See, right here on the carpet, that's wood. Okay? Imagine no wood and it's just concrete. That shit hurts. He did a suplex on the concrete and then followed it up with a freaking that DDT that he does, the leaping DDT to the inside of the ring, which I thought was really cool. You know, I love that he finished the match with a move that usually wouldn't finish a match, but it was believable in this situation. And the way Ricochet sold it was nasty. Another spot that people aren't going to talk about was a Poison Rana. He did a freaking... Gargano did a freaking Poison Rana on Ricochet, where Ricochet stood head... Like, you know how you do that headstand? I don't even know how people do it, but he did like a freaking headstand on the concrete outside. And I was just like, man, like, if these guys are able to walk tomorrow, I will be surprised. But in the end, the shocker of the night is Johnny Takeover defeating Ricochet. I did not see this coming. I, like many others, predicted Ricochet to retain. No one thought that Gargano was going to win this title. I didn't think he was. Because in my mind, I'm thinking he's going to fight Tommaso Ciampa for the championship at the next Takeover, so why would he win the championship here? You know what I'm saying? But, to my surprise, Johnny Takeover is now your new NXT North American champion. He beat Ricochet. Clean. As clean can be. Lord have mercy. Gargano's a champion. And he did it. Well, he did it by himself, DIY. But he did it with a risk. He did it at a sacrifice. He sacrificed his morals. He sacrificed himself. He sacrificed everything that Gargano is about and became the one thing he hated to do it. So, there's a story there. There's a story with what's happened to Gargano that is beautifully told. And I think it took this match to a whole different stratosphere that nothing was going to top. Nothing was going to top this. So, yeah, instant classic. Absolutely. Best match of the night. Perhaps best match of the weekend. Good luck topping this. Like, seriously. I think the matches tomorrow at Royal Rumble they all have potential to be fantastic. I don't think individually there's going to be a match that tops this one. I still think Royal Rumble could, overall, in terms of a show, be better than this show. With that said, I am pleased to say Gargano is already starting off the year with a Gargano Classic. And Dave Meltzer, I don't know if you're watching me, buddy, but if I look at the Meltzer ratings and I see that he doesn't give this a 5-star match, I will never take him seriously again. Like, seriously, you're hearing it from me. Dave Meltzer, if you do not give this a 5-star match, if you give it a 4.75, I will never take you seriously again. Never. Ever, 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 ever.
Man, this story with Gargano is bad writing to me.
Okay, that's interesting. Why would it be bad writing to you, Y2 Jericho? I think it's great. I think it's amazing. It's interesting. It's interesting to see they tell a story with Gargano in a way that really hasn't been done before. Now, how they get back to him being a babyface, I'm very interested in, because now where he is, it's this is a very difficult spot to get him away from. So how do you revert him back to being a good guy now that he sacrificed his morals? Because as someone that likes to be creative in his own mind, if I was asked to write Gargano out of this and make him a babyface, I wouldn't know what to do. So I'm very intrigued with how NXT works their way out of this one. So, absolute classic. We move on from this match to the women's championship, the NXT Women's Championship. Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler. I did this for these girls, because I told myself, there's no way in hell you girls are going to be able to top this. So, I feel bad for you. You're going to have to come in fighting a battle that you just can't win. So, at least put on a good match so fans won't crap on you. And they did. I thought Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair had a pretty good match. I feel like there was a section in there that was, it was kind of slow, but okay, fine. It's okay to be slow if it leads to something. For me, this match did what it needed to do, which was put sympathy on Bianca Belair. The highlight of the match was all the times Shayna Baszler had her in the rear naked choke, and Bianca just stood up. She would not pass out. She would not tap out. She refused to tap out. But every single time Shayna had her in the her finisher, I keep forgetting the name of it, she just would not go down. She just would not quit. She refused to tap because she is the EST. She is the fastest. She is the smartest. She is the strongest. She is the EST of all that you see, which is a great story to tell. And that was something I was worried about with Bianca Belair coming into this event. Before this event, I didn't really think she had that moment that solidified her as a babyface, that gave her that sympathy for fans to go, okay, I see why I should get behind you. We got it this night. This was a night where I went, there it is. And she lost. Bianca Belair is no longer undefeated. And there was a fan, I'm not going to say his name, who was upset about this. And he went on this tirade on Twitter talking about, see, the WWE doesn't respect black wrestlers. This is why I don't like the WWE. They're always going to treat someone bad. And Bianca Belair is buried because she's no longer undefeated. And I went, whoa. pump the brakes, relax. First off, let's analyze this. One, it wasn't clean. It wasn't a clean loss because Jessamine and Marina Shafir interfered. They interfered. And there was a part of the match where Shayna had Bianca. Shayna was down. Shayna was pinned. Bianca had Shayna pinned 1, 2, 3, but the referee was knocked out. So it wasn't a clean victory. 1. 2, she didn't give up. She passed out. So it wasn't like she was ripped. Like she was just dominated. Now if she was dominated, okay, maybe you can make the argument that that didn't make her look good. But no, Shayna cheated to beat her, and she did it by basically ripping it out of her hands. They protected the hell out of Bianca. To the point where I feel like the loss made her better. I have more respect for Bianca Belair now than I did when she was undefeated. Sometimes losing is the best way to build a character. And I thought that's what happened tonight. Good match overall. Shayna retained, which is what I predicted. I think everyone knew Shayna was not losing this belt. She can't lose it now. I still think she debuts on the main roster tomorrow in the Women's Rumble, despite being NXT Women's Champion. But yeah, I'm pleased. I'm very pleased with what they did with Bianca. The crowd loved it too. EST. And there was a one spot where she used her hair, the little whip hair that she has. She got Shayna right here across her gut, and she actually cut her. Like, she whipped her so hard, she actually cut her, which I thought was interesting. Following that,
Me and you and the other went back and forth after on TW.
On Twitter. Yeah, I saw you guys having your conversation. I just decided to stay out of that. But, interesting that we ended the show with, I gotta say it was the weakest match of the night. Wasn't bad. It was just, compared to everybody else, it didn't live up. And it was the main event. And it's sad to say because Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa, they've had amazing matches. Matter of fact, their first NXT Championship match last year was phenomenal. Like, that was the takeover match I wanted to see tonight. Like, I remember that match and I went, that match was amazing. They could definitely do that again. They didn't. They didn't even meet that quality. It was one of those matches where it feels like they just, for a good portion of it, they went through the motions. It ended strong. Like, the last 3 minutes was good. Like, the counters, the sequences, the selling of Tommaso Ciampa working on Aleister Black's legs. Like, all of that was good. But before then, it really did feel like they were going through the motions and it dragged. And I admittedly was dozing off. I was dozing off. I was like, okay, guys. Like, okay, seriously. You know. And I knew what I was watching wasn't bad. But my interest was waning. Because I think we all knew Ciampa was retaining. And guess what? He did. So you had to do something. Like, you had to create the story for me that Black had the chance of winning. And I don't think they accomplished that. I never at one point felt Black was winning that belt. Not at one point. Even when they had all those kickouts. I think he kicked out of the Ciampa's finisher, that one-winged angel, the one-winged angel. Fallen angel, dark angel. I don't even know what he calls it anymore. Ciampa's finisher, that's Christopher Daniels' finisher. He kicked out of it like, what? 2-3 times? I think it was 2 times. And then he hit it like 2 more times and then beat him for it. Yeah, so. Yeah. Not saying it was a bad match. But I was expecting more. And I kind of feel like compared to the other matches, especially the Tag Team Championship match and the North American Championship match, this should have been a lot better than what it was. The fact that I felt the Women's Championship match was better than this one, I don't know. Something was off. something was off about their match. Whatever the case is, Ciampa is still your NXT champion. And then we get to what happens when the credit is rolling. So, as you know, Ciampa's walking up the ramp, outwalks Gargano. And then we see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa raising both belts in the air. And this was the first indication that we got that DIY is officially back. It's not the DIY you know. It's not the underdogs trying to be tag team champs. It's the top guys, now known as DIY. A much darker version of DIY. A much sinister version of DIY. And I think that was a good note to go out on. Because now NXT has us in a very interesting point of their storytelling. Because I think we all predicted, or still predict, Gargano and Ciampa one more time, NXT TakeOver New York. And then loser leaves NXT. But it doesn't look like, or doesn't feel like, that's where we're going now. So now we're at an interesting point where we're questioning, or we're asking ourselves, where is this going? You know? Which is good. You get fans to a point where I have to watch to see where this is going next. That's great. You want them there. You want them to be able to go, I don't know where this is going, but I have to watch to be able to see. The bad part about that is, if it goes in a direction that's not fitting, that's not good, you could end up turning people against this, which you take that risk. Sometimes that's a risk you gotta take. You could have played it safe, give the fans exactly what they wanted, and, made your money that way. Because they could have easily had Gargano lose, did something where Gargano got sick of Tommaso Ciampa trying to mind control them, and did the match again at TakeOver, New York. But they're not doing that. They're going in a much different direction, because I have no idea what they're getting ready to do. People are saying they teased the main event. I don't know if they did. I mean, you could say that, but I don't really know at this point.
They just teased the TakeOver Mania main event.
You say they did, but who knows? And then after the show went off the air, there was this big brawl involving Ricochet, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, who was there in the audience. He just didn't have a match. They all came out on stage, and they brawled with Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. So, big fat brawl. And that's how the event ended. Just one big brawl with all the top guys on NXT. So, I have no idea what's getting ready to happen next. I don't know if I like that. But since it's NXT, I am going to be one of those people that say, surprisingly, for the first time, let's see where it goes. I am giving a ton of trust to NXT to take me in a direction that I know I'll enjoy. If this was WWE, I would be frightened. I would be terrified. Like, oh God, this is not going to end well. See, I am more comfortable with the main roster doing things that are predictable, because I can at least be prepared for outcomes that don't go right. When WWE takes us in directions that we don't know where they're going, 9 times out of 10, it fails. Main roster. NXT, on the other hand, I have faith that there's a good chance we'll get something that we enjoy. So, I don't know where it's going. Could still be Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, but what do? Do you put both belts on the line? Wouldn't that be robbing... a spot in the card for others? Do you unify both belts? Do you see what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay, that's the main event, but in what way? Maybe it will be a 6-man scramble match. And, 2 pinfalls. The first pinfall is for the North American Championship. The second pinfall is for the NXT Championship. Gargano, Ciampa, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and throw in someone else in there. Aleister Black, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle. There you go. 6-man scramble. Who knows? They can go in so many directions with this. And I'm someone that has enough trust in NXT to sit back and wait. So, there you go. That is my thoughts on NXT TakeOver. Give me your thoughts about it down below. Like the video if you haven't. Let me get a like check. Give me that like check. How many likes do we have? Latrell Finkton says, now they definitely define the meaning DIY because they got to this moment on their own. Now they are back together. New tag team name alert. TTG, the top guys. I'm cool with that. TTG, DIY, TTG. But yeah, they did it themselves. They got to the top themselves. Interesting. Sonic X WWE The King. DIY gets new enemies. These new enemies challenge for both belts in a tag match. They lose the belts, they get mad at each other, and the feud restarts. Ooh, that'd be crazy. Let's see here. Jonathan Martinez. I like the 6-man scramble match better. Oh, wow. Okay. Only 60 likes? 67 likes now. Now, some people are asking me what's the story, and I think Luna Carva explained it eloquently. Ciampa is taking advantage of Gargano's hate and using it to corrupt Gargano to make him more like him. It wasn't just his hatred that turned Gargano heel, it was his ego. So Ciampa is the puppet master pulling the strings, like Aleister Black said. Good stuff, man. People are saying Black will be in the Rumble tomorrow. Yes, I am calling it now. He's definitely moving up. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Guys, I am tired. I want to get to bed, but I hope you enjoyed my review of NXT. Again, great show overall. One of the weaker takeovers, and I think Royal Rumble tomorrow has a good chance of being better, which is a rare thing. Main roster being better than NXT has never happened, but it could happen this time around. So we will see. We shall see if the main roster can step up. They have the card to do it. Tomorrow's card is crazy. They could do it, but they have to step up. So absolutely go out of your way to check out the show if you haven't, and give me your thoughts down below. Your favorite match, hashtag watch it all if you watched it all. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. Like the video.